guys! Today, we'll be recapping a story called I Need to Raise My Sister Properly. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. Enjoy! In the novel The Beloved Saint, Liz Agnes is the notorious villain. Fierce and desperate, but beautiful nonetheless. She's our reader's favorite character. One day, by pure coincidence, or perhaps destiny, the reader opens her eyes and realizes she's somehow slipped into the pages of the novel. And she isn't just any character. She's Rachel Agnes, her favorite character's sister. Well, older half-sister, but still, that's good enough. Now, being Rachel, the reader is ecstatic to be able to watch over her favorite character as she grows up. You see, Liz Agnes is her illegitimate half-sister. In the novel, Rachel dies at a young age, leading to Liz being brought into the Agnes household despite her illegitimate status. But due to her background, she endures maltreatment from the people around her, ultimately leading her to become the bitter villain of the story. Unlike the novel's protagonist, Liz wasn't born lucky, so she had to crawl her way up, and that's why she's the reader's favorite character. She recalls how Liz's life came to an end in the novel. It was peaceful yet sad. She was alone until the end, unable to experience what it meant to love and be loved back. Now that she's here, things will be different for Liz. She, Rachel Agnes, will make sure Liz lives a happy life. A sudden knock on the door interrupts Rachel's thoughts. It's Abigail, the head maid, hauling in a bottle of wine. In the novel, Abigail took control of the Agnes estate as soon as the Duke and Duchess Agnes passed away. Hungry for power, she used Rachel's grief to her advantage, brainwashing and incapacitating her enough that she couldn't even function. At present, Rachel coils with anger, refusing the alcohol and sending Abigail away. Thanks to Abigail, she's been an alcoholic ever since her parents' passing. If she wants to give Liz a better life, then she needs to turn her own life around first. Clearing her head, she plunges into a bath. But Abigail sends another maid in, Anne, to hand her the wine. Having had enough, she takes it off Anne's hands, just so Anne can report back to Abigail that she's taken it. Later that day, Rachel is alerted to a commotion when Marcus barges into the manor, insisting to meet with her. If she remembers correctly, Marcus is Liz's future right-hand man. He's also the only person who knows where Liz is, and the same person who brings her into the Agnes household after Rachel's passing. For him to march into the manor, Rachel can't believe her luck. He just saved her the effort of finding him later on. She accommodates him over tea, and his first comment is noting her sobriety, much to Rachel's humiliation. Before her, Marcus reports the territory's current state, struggling and neglected. The knights haven't been paid, the people are moving out, and wild beasts have run amok. This comes as a shock to Rachel, but Marcus reminds her that she's partly to blame because she appointed Abigail to oversee the estate and territory. Hearing this, she pinches her nose in disappointment, but there's no point in dwelling on it. Immediately, she orders the removal of all the staff affiliated to Abigail, a move that leaves Marcus taken aback. Amidst his shock, Rachel brings out the bottle of wine Abigail has been giving her. She wants Marcus to investigate it, and although he doesn't know what's in it yet, he already seethes with rage. He can't believe the audacity of that head maid. As Marcus airs out his frustrations, Rachel can only sip her tea deep in thought. She knows that Marcus isn't loyal to her. His heart belongs to the Agnes territory and his loyalty with her late father. Still, knowing he'll work for Liz one day, she figures she can trust him enough. Elsewhere, the leader of the Agnes Knights, Tail Weber, is confronted by his deputy, Rupert Archer. They haven't been paid in months, and Tail has done nothing but drink. Insulted, Tail turns to violence. But what he doesn't expect is for everyone to side with Rupert. One by one, they turn to leave, making Tail angrier by the minute. Just then, a voice cuts through the chaos. Rachel has arrived. Tail Weber is Abigail's cousin. He may be the leader of the Knights, but he only got the position because of nepotism. Rupert Archer, on the other hand, is a knight with great courage. Later in the novel, he devotes his life protecting the main character from danger. And from the villain, Liz. Knowing that Rupert becomes an obstacle for Liz, Rachel is determined to keep him from leaving the Agnes household. Looking at Tail and Rupert, it's clear that they're already at each other's throats. So why not fan the flame and kill two birds with one stone? Rachel suggests a duel between them to settle matters, an idea that Rupert doesn't refuse. Tail, though, beads with sweat, evidently nervous. Without a moment to lose, Rupert gears up, but he refuses to use his sword on Tail, not deeming him worthy of his blade. This riles up Tail and he attacks without warning. But quick as he is to attack, Rupert is just as quick to retaliate, and he incapacitates Tail with ease. Having won, Rupert turns to Rachel, his glare wary. To his surprise, though, she appoints him as the new leader of the Agnes Knights. The day they've all been waiting for has finally arrived. Rachel Agnes has finally come to her senses. With a proud smile, Rupert humbly accepts the honor, pledging his service to Rachel and the Agnes household. Back at the estate, Abigail's mind is in turmoil, confused about Rachel's behavior. It had taken her months to render Rachel helpless using medicine and liquor. Addiction is supposed to be an illness, a spell, so why is it that Rachel is suddenly breaking free? Just then, a servant storms in, reporting that Rachel has met with Marcus. Immediately, Abigail turns to Anne, demanding to know if Rachel drank the wine earlier that morning or not. When she fails to give a clear answer, she invites Abigail's wrath, instantly enduring her violence. Outside, Rachel and Rupert close in on the estate, determined to finally put an end to Abigail's tyranny. The door to the office bursts open as Rachel barges in. Rachel tends to a crying Anne first, but a box of jewels on the table catches her attention. She begins confronting Abigail, and immediately the head maid claims that she handpicked those jewels to give to her later. Seeing Rachel smile, Abigail thinks she's gotten away yet again. But to her dismay, the next words out of Rachel's mouth makes her jaw drop. She has just been dismissed from service. Rupert seizes her instantly, and she throws a tantrum, screaming about injustice as she's being hauled out. Left alone, Rachel then appoints Anne as her personal maid. Over the next few weeks, Rachel begins fixing up the Agnes household. Her first order of business? Bringing in a butler and promoting the senior maid. With their help, Rachel leaves the management of the estate to them while she focuses on the administrative work. Being a duchess is no joke, and being left with restoring a neglected territory makes it even harder. Just staring at the mountain of paperwork makes Rachel cry, and she can only wish Marcus would come back sooner to assist her. Just then, Anne informs her of Rupert's arrival, and so she rushes to meet him. Outside, Rupert shows off the riches he has returned with, a small portion of everything that Abigail has embezzled in the last 6 months. Just when Rachel thought it couldn't get any worse, Rupert then hands her several scrolls. They're deeds to properties that Tail Weber purchased with his unusually large salary. It's a hard-knock life for the Agnes household, but surely better days are coming, right? Just then, a grim-looking Marcus finally returns, urging Rachel to get medically examined right away. Elsewhere, a bloody battle concludes, and standing at the center of it all is Theo von Lexerville, the Archduke of the Lexerville estate. In all his cold and brooding personality, he expresses disdain for most matters in high society, including the news of the Agnes household's attempt to rebuild themselves. Back at the manor, Lumen Tudris, the Agnes household physician, assures Rachel that she's all right. For now. He reveals that the wine Abigail has been serving her is laced with Imperial glass, a poison so potent it can cause permanent speech loss. As to why Rachel hasn't shown any symptoms remains a mystery even to him. Lumen considers the possibilities. Imperial glass is an Imperial-regulated toxin. Abigail shouldn't have been able to obtain it with money alone. Could someone inside the palace be involved? He adds that there are only 2 reasons Rachel could survive the poison. Either she's a saint blessed by God, or a mage who has awakened immense power. Rachel remembers that Liz had water abilities in the novel, but unlike Liz, she has no power or magic at all. Lost in thought, she doesn't realize that Lumen is quietly observing her. Her sudden shift in behavior makes him wonder if the poison damaged her spirit, leading to her sudden change of personality. When they both snap out of their thoughts, Lumen advises they monitor her condition for now. With so little known about the poison, he can only do so much. Even so, Rachel thanks him sincerely. Soon after Lumen leaves, Anne arrives with letters, and one of them bears the Imperial family seal. Elsewhere, in an underground prison, Rupert escorts Abigail out. She happily assumes Rachel has cleared her name, unaware she's being transferred to a far worse place, one that even rats avoid. That afternoon, Marcus reads through the Imperial letter, shivering at the mention of the Archduke. The Lexervilles are renowned fire mages, but their bloodlust has led every one of them to die in battle. The letter itself is an invitation to celebrate the Archduke's victory. Rachel wants to refuse, but Marcus forbids it. An Imperial gathering is the perfect chance to announce the Agnes household's return. Exhausted, a heavy silence settles over the office, until Rachel suddenly confronts Marcus about Liz. Marcus is bewildered by the question. They may be half-sisters, but Liz's whereabouts isn't something he can share so freely. Still, Rachel's eagerness to protect and look after her sister gnaws at his heart. He offers a compromise. When the Agnes household becomes more stable, only then will he introduce her to Liz. What he doesn't expect, though, is for Rachel to immerse herself in work for the next few weeks. Usually, most nobles couldn't care less about their illegitimate siblings. Heck, some even kill them off. But Rachel? He wonders if she's different. Out of the blue, Rachel asks him for updates on the tax exemption document. Due to the territory falling into neglect and ruin, she believes that the least she can do is waive taxes until the next quarter. Luckily, Marcus is handling it with utmost urgency. He reports that he's arranged for announcements to be posted, and since majority of the residents are illiterate, he's arranged that it be spread through word of mouth, too. Literacy is a privilege reserved only for the wealthy. Without time and money, most commoners aren't even able to read and write, a reality that doesn't sit well with Rachel. To herself, she considers establishing an academy. After all, Liz needs to grow up in a thriving and flourishing society, right? I love how her moral compass is Liz's well-being. Well, that's a sister's love, I guess. Soon, she finishes her work for the day, and after reviewing it, Marcus praises its impressive quality. Pleased, Rachel decides to celebrate, and her idea of a celebration is inspecting the territory herself. Marcus nearly chokes at the idea, but admits it might do her good to see how her people live. What she quickly realizes on her excursion, though, is that life in the Agnes territory is far from decent. Even worse, there are men posing as tax collectors amidst the tax exemption period. Frustrated, Rachel marches toward the commotion. The fake tax collectors are harassing a flower vendor that she helped earlier, and Rachel is in no mood to let them off so easily. While the men are distracted, the woman urges her brother to escape. Just then, she lunges at them, yelling for everyone not to get too involved as they might resort to violence. Her heroic act touches Rachel, and under her orders, Rupert immobilizes the men in an instant. What pisses her off even more, though, is that the men have the balls to use her name to threaten Rupert. Cutting through the commotion, Anne announces Rachel's identity to the crowd, revealing her as Duchess Agnes. Setting the record straight, Rachel denies any connection to the fake tax collectors, ultimately branding them as frauds. Honestly, if it were up to Rupert, I just know he'd execute the frauds for their crimes. Before the public, Rachel personally announces the tax exemption, leaving everyone in awe. She then turns to the flower vendor, asking for her name. The woman introduces herself as Bella, and right then and there, Rachel makes up her mind. She'll appoint her as Liz's personal maid. When they return to the manor, Rachel has a word with Marcus. She saw for herself that the territory is still in shambles, so it unsettles her greatly not to have Liz with her. It takes a while for her to convince him, but finally, he gives in. True to his word, Marcus takes Rachel to meet Liz days later. Inside the carriage, Rachel beams with excitement, but the same can't be said for Marcus, who's deep in thought. Reflecting on Rachel's attitude and actions over the last few weeks, he's sure of one thing. He'll pledge allegiance to her from now on. I'm so happy for Rachel. She's gained another ally on her side yet again. Arriving at the place where Liz is, Rachel becomes nervous, but it quickly turns into concern and anger when Liz is thrown to the ground before her. Young Liz slowly opens her eyes to a woman cradling her with care. Before she can process anything, her heart thumps once more when the booming voice of her caretaker echoes right behind her. Seeing people around, the woman demands to know who they are, but she's quickly silenced when Rachel claims to be Liz's sister. 8 years ago, Liz had been abandoned at a brunette woman's doorstep. Accompanying her was a bag of coins and a letter requesting that she be taken care of. In exchange, she'd be sent a monthly salary, a compensation that the woman greatly welcomed. For a while, she suspected that Liz was an illegitimate child from a wealthy family, but seeing Rachel and her knights before her, she realizes that Liz may just come from high-ranking nobility. Her eyes sparkle with greed. If she plays her cards right, she might be rewarded with a hefty amount. Unfortunately for her, all her hopes of leeching off Liz's wealth quickly vanishes when Rachel expresses disdain towards her. Marcus admits that he's been sending money from his own pocket to support Liz, but due to tough times, he hasn't been able to send any in the last 2 months, which is probably why the woman was acting up. This only fuels Rachel's anger, though. It's just been 2 months and she's already treating Liz like trash? No, she realizes that she may have been abusing Liz for far longer. Having had enough, Rachel leaves Rupert to handle the woman. After all, her purpose coming here was to see Liz, so it's Liz she'll focus her attention on. Alone, Liz wonders if they're really sisters, and Rachel reassures her that she is. From their hair to their eyes, the resemblance is unmistakable. Smiling warmly, she holds out her hand for Liz, promising that she'll take care of her from now on. It takes a while for her to accept, not because she doesn't trust Rachel, but because everything seems too good to be true. As they leave, Rupert then carries out her orders, getting rid of the woman who dared to abuse Liz. Over the next few days, Rachel pours her heart out into taking care of Liz. Whether it's dining with her, dressing her up, or providing her with the most lavish things, Rachel does so with a full heart. When Liz is comfortable enough, Rachel then introduces her to everyone. First in line is Bella, who happily greets her mistress. Up next is everyone else, and what better way to do that than by hosting a welcoming party? There's presents from floor to ceiling, and everyone welcomes Liz warmly. Emotional, Liz can only cry in response. Through snot and tears, she croaks out why it took so long for Rachel to find her, a question that makes Rachel's heart break for Liz. Keeping her gaze low, she ponders on her answer, admitting that she was sick for the longest time. A white lie, of course, but a young soul like Liz doesn't need to know the things she went through under Abigail's watch. Later, Rachel shows Liz her room, a sight that leaves her in awe. In the safety of her own room, she then pours her heart out to Rachel. She admits how grateful she is to Rachel for letting her see the wonders of life at such an early age. Whether it's a delicious cake or a luxurious room, Liz feels her heart overflowing with happiness. Rachel softens her gaze at Liz's confession, but the next words out of her mouth breaks her heart again. Innocently, she wonders why Rachel is so nice to her. She doesn't even know what kind of person she is yet. Unbeknownst to her, Rachel knows everything. After all, she was Yiwon Beck in the 21st century, a woman so pained by her own reality that she turned to a novel to escape. It was Liz, in all her mean and villainous personality, that saved her from the pain of the real world. So now that she's Rachel Agnes, she hopes to return the favor. It's been a week since Liz moved into the Agnes manor. Although Rachel would love to spend time with her 24/7, her duties dictate otherwise. The day of the Archduke's celebratory party is upon her, and unfortunately, Marcus has emphasized how important it is for her to attend. Arriving at the capital, Rachel's entrance stuns the nobles at the party. For sure, they expected her to arrive looking like a messed-up wreck of a duchess. Just then, a petite and blonde woman greets Rachel. It's Caroline Harrisman. The Harrisman household is one backed by the Imperial Palace. It began when the Marquis of Harrisman was elevated to a ducal status as a reward for ousting the crown prince for the current emperor. Just thinking about the politics of it all, Rachel sees no reason to befriend Caroline. But in the same regard, she sees no reason to make an enemy out of such a powerful household. Going with the flow, she greets Caroline, only for Caroline to immediately cry about her non-existent love life. Unrequited love. That's what Caroline is best known for in high society. She always makes herself look like the victim, going on and on about not receiving the same amount of love she's giving. Men and women pity her, but Rachel knows better. The likes of Caroline make her sick. All of a sudden, Emperor Giorgio von Castor's arrival is announced, stirring the crowd into a frenzy. He enters, all dashing, but an ominous aura seeps out from the person trailing behind him, the Archduke of Lexerville. He may look scary, but his looks are undeniably drop-dead gorgeous. Unexpectedly, the Marquis and Marquess of Cavendish approach Rachel, and all three have a rather hostile exchange. Shortly after, Rachel turns to greet the Emperor, but to her horror, someone pushes her from behind. Marcus's words echo in her mind as she falls. Never touch the Archduke lest you wish to lose a limb. And by some cruel fate, Rachel just happens to fall right into the Archduke. Rachel freezes when she falls against the Duke's arm because the rumors say anyone who touches him gets hurt or killed. But the nobles who push her are the ones who end up hurt and punished. The Duke only gives her a strange look before he leaves the hall. The next morning in the Agnes estate, Liz wakes up from a bad dream that feels too real. She wonders if it shows the future, but she tries to push the thought away. She still feels thankful for living in a warm and safe place she never had before. When she checks outside her room, she sees servants shouting and fighting. One servant bullies Bella, saying Liz is an illegitimate child whom the Duchess does not care about. Bella looks guilty when she sees Liz, but Liz hugs her and thanks her for staying by her side. Bella helps Liz make her bed before breakfast, trying to act normal. Liz stays quiet, but her eyes turn cold. Clearly, she is not as forgiving as she seems. She looks like an angel in disguise. Meanwhile, in the capital, Rachel keeps thinking about what happened at the party last night. She remembers how the Duke caught the Marquis and his wife planning something against him. She cannot understand how he walks out freely after hurting them in front of the king. Her servant thinks she's only tired from overthinking too much. She suggests they go shopping to relax and maybe buy something for Liz. Rachel agrees, hoping it will help her stop thinking. But while they shop, Caroline suddenly appears and interrupts them. Rachel already feels stressed just hearing her voice. Still, she stays calm as Caroline smiles and invites her to a party at one of her houses in the capital. This smells like trouble. At the party, Rachel becomes the strange guest in everyone's eyes. She sees alcohol on the table even though it is still bright outside, and she knows Caroline does this on purpose. Rachel feels anxious, but she hides it while the guests gossip about what happened with the Duke. They keep spreading stories even if they know nothing. Rachel tells them she is fine and that her body's not hurt at all. But Caroline suddenly asks if she knows the Duke, claiming she has loved him for a long time. Rachel says that she met the Duke a few times, but insists it means nothing. Rachel, however, keeps wondering why the Duke did not hurt her when she touched him, even by accident. The nobles comfort Caroline, thinking that she's jealous of the Duke's attention to Rachel. She even looks pleased by their attention. Wow, gaining sympathy for no reason? Rachel does not want to get involved with Duke Harrisman's proud daughter. However, she still calls out everyone for being rude, including Caroline. Then she leaves the party without looking back. In the Duchy of Lexerville, the Duke walks into his study half naked with only a towel around his neck. The butler and Earl Arthur Gorgon stared, clearly enjoying the sight, while Dante looked annoyed. Dante scolds the Duke for being careless, especially with the rumors spreading about him being bloodthirsty and cruel. Arthur laughs at the rumors, which makes Dante hit him with a book. The Duke ignores them and orders Dante to investigate Rachel Agnes. He remembers that when he passed by her, the curse inside him reacted. This curse is the dark secret hidden in the Duchy of Lexerville. It binds him and fills him with a painful hunger for blood. Now, he feels a strange hope because he thinks he has found something he has searched for so long. It sounded like she's the one for you, Duke. He remembers his father telling him about the curse when he was young. His father warned that the curse would bring suffering, death, and flames if he tried to run from it. After meeting Rachel, the Duke now hopes she's the key that can unlock his chains at last. Rachel returns to the estate, and Elise reports everything that happened while she was gone, from the supplies being arranged to the strict rules for new workers. She also explains that some employees were moved to the mansion, renovations will start soon, and Liz is being bullied by other servants. Rachel dismisses the maid and says Liz will face worse things in the future. She adds that there are many maids who can serve Liz, and Bella is not meant to handle everything alone. Rachel promises again in her heart to protect Liz until she grows up in peace. When she enters Liz's room and hugs her tightly, she feels the child's small warmth. That night, they sleep together in Liz's room. She's a loving sister. Let's hope she succeeds in raising Liz well. Meanwhile, the Marquis and his wife, who pushed Rachel toward the Duke, are now suffering from the aftermath. They blame Rachel and wish her harm, so they cancel all meetings in Greywood and will cause chaos in the house Agnes. The next morning, Rachel feels strange because Liz is extra sweet towards her. Liz smiles widely as she holds the doll Rachel bought. Rachel laughs softly, making her servant wonder why she's in a good mood. However, the report from her loyal employees states that the region is in trouble, as many people have lost their jobs. Merchants withdraw, goods become limited, and prices rise too fast. To help, the duchy promises to bring supplies and send them soon. The largest merchants meet in Greywood, but things get worse after the meeting. Their excuse is that they no longer trust the Agnes duchy. Rachel decides they must investigate why Greywood changed its mind and prepared a better plan. She thinks that if she were as ruthless as Duke Lexerville, no one would dare oppose Liz. Her eyes fall on an invitation letter waiting on her desk. It reminds her of the 4 ancient families of the Empire. Agnes is the lion, the northern family is the gazelle, Harrisman is the snake, and Lexerville is the falcon. People believe twins are born with one soul in 2 bodies. The northern twins carry this belief, and many fear them. To keep them safe, the northern family stays hidden for 7 years. Now, the banquet marks their first appearance in society. Rachel is not a tyrant, but she will use every chance she gets. She plans to stop the coming tragedy, for she knows the Northern Duke will lose one of his twins if nothing changes. Go, Duchess! You can do it! In the Lexerville estate, Dante finishes his investigation on Duchess Rachel Agnes. He reports to the Duke that the weakest part of the Agnes Duchy is the business sector, where the Greywood negotiation has failed. He also says Rachel may come to him soon to negotiate. Dante believes the Duke wants to destroy Rachel by learning her weaknesses. He thinks the Duke asked for the report to attack her later, but he soon realizes he's completely wrong. Meanwhile, in Agnes's estate, the new maid starts bullying Bella again. She's angry because the head maid scolded her for Bella. She forces Bella to do her tasks and hits her when Bella refuses, saying it's not her job. Stop being a freeloader! Leave Bella alone! Bella remembers why Rachel brought her to the duchy. Rachel praised her warmth and bravery and hoped she could protect Liz. With that memory, Bella decides she must fight back. Liz appears and goes straight to Bella. She asks if Bella wants the maid gone since the woman only knows how to bully others. Bella vents her anger but says the maid is simply jealous because Bella entered the duchy without strict testing. Bella says she wants to learn and grow. She knows Liz is Rachel's precious sister, so she wants to be a maid Liz will never complain about. Liz smiles and supports her dream. But deep inside, Liz wants the new maid gone right away. She knows Rachel is wrong because she's not the gentle girl her sister thinks she is. Her heart feels cold and heavy, for she is a strange child with a constant bad mood. Rachel shines like a star and gives love without any reason. She is beautiful and warm in a way no one else can match. Liz, who receives her first real gift from her sister, feels broken even as she tries to hold on to that warmth. Liz really does have a dark side. A few days later, Rachel visits Madame Elliot's boutique, where she is warmly welcomed. The boutique is the finest clothing store in the city, and Madame Elliot looks nervous at Rachel's arrival since it takes her a long time to visit. Rachel reassures her that everything is fine, and Madame Elliot breathes easier. Rachel enjoys the praise, feeling the power of wealth and influence all around her. Madame Elliot serves tea while secretly admiring Rachel and notices Liz for the first time. Rachel compliments her sister, making Liz blush quietly. Aw, how cute! Madame Elliot explains that a new design will suit Liz, but she needs to show it privately for security reasons. Rachel and Liz step aside, leaving Liz alone for a moment. As they leave, a woman approaches Liz with harsh words. Liz remembers the hardships of her past, when life was rough and cruel. The woman wants to use Liz to boost her own sales and protect her job at the boutique. She believes Liz will help her succeed without question. The street requires proper clothing, and Elliot's boutique has the most influence there. The woman knows it is hard to get a job in the boutique, so she's willing to be selfish to achieve her goals. Liz feels anger and fear, but tries to think of her sister to stay calm. Finally, Liz acts. She throws her tea at the woman and warns her never to bother her again. She declares that she has a sister who adores her and pours the tea over herself to show that Rachel will defend her no matter what. The woman is left frozen in shock. Gosh, this girl knows how to manipulate the situation! Rachel hurries to comfort Liz. She panics seeing that the wounds from Liz's past cannot be healed easily. No matter how much she tries to change things, the original story keeps unfolding. If only you know, Duchess, your precious sister is more cunning than you think. Liz cries as she explains what happened. Rachel hugs her tightly and reminds her that she's loved and precious no matter what. The woman who hurt Liz is left terrified for her life. Later that day, Rachel visits the Northern Duchy and is warmly welcomed. She knows she must gain great strength so Liz will not face hardships alone. Strength, Rachel reminds herself, is mightier than the sword. The first step of her plan is to build a network of allies. One key person is the Duke of the North. She must earn his trust by rescuing one of the twins from danger today. Rachel recalls how Noel North is considered a sub-hero in the original story. He once lent his power to the original heroine to destroy House Agnes. He shut his heart after feeling guilty for causing his brother's death when he was young. The young Noel, wandering in sorrow, was comforted by small hands and tender care. the beloved saint everyone loved. No one could easily hate her, and even the original main character fell to her words. Rachel knows Liz tried her best and has no regrets. Liz once felt desperate, and Rachel regrets her past actions after drinking strong alcohol. Rachel wants her to know love in the way she deserves and to feel true happiness. Rachel gives the twins 2 whistles as gifts. They're confused, but she explains they're for emergencies, just like she gave one to Liz. The Duke, their grandfather, wishes Rachel would bring Liz next time so the twins could become friends with her sister. Rachel promises she'll bring Liz. The moment she intervenes, the original story begins to change. She wants to save these children for their own good and for Liz. She refuses to see a 7-year-old child suffer loss and pain. While the twins play, they bump into Mason Waver, the second son of Marquis Waver. Mason harshly calls one twin clumsy, and Noelle, one of the twins, runs away crying, hating birthday parties where no one congratulates them and where their parents never visit. Noelle continues running, thinking about how their mother hates them. She only handed him a teddy to get him out of her sight. His twin runs after him, shouting in anger that their mother made a fool out of Noelle, even though no one else is around. Gail comforts Noelle and promises to get his teddy back from the water. Noelle clings to his brother, feeling safe for the first time in a long time. Together, they find the courage to face the moment. Meanwhile, in the hall, the Duke apologizes for his grandchildren's behavior. Mason says the twins should not bring dolls because they're boys. Rachel points out his backward way of thinking and ignores his rude stares. She knows her focus must remain on protecting the children. Her goal is to save every vulnerable child and stay alert at all times. Suddenly, she hears a whistle blow. She then rushes to the twins, where she learns that Gail is almost drowning while trying to rescue the teddy bear. Noelle is frantic, blaming himself for his brother's imminent demise. Rachel acts quickly, knowing that death should not come to a child. She rushes to save Gail, diving into the water quickly. Even though her original goal was to gain the Duke of the North's trust, she also wished for the twins to be happy together. Relief fills her when she manages to save Gail. For a moment, she imagines a happy ending, but then Duke Lexerville appears, wearing a blank expression with teasing words, calling Rachel and one of the twins 2 wet mice. The children run to the Duke, laughing, and call him Uncle. Rachel feels confused by the unexpected reaction. The Duke suggests they change clothes so they do not get sick, and Rachel realizes that while today might end safely, dealing with Duke Lexerville will never be simple. It must be trouble. Duke Lexerville tries to encourage one of the twins to bathe again. He warns that if they refuse, their grandfather will see what happened, even though he already knows. Rachel quietly screams in agony, watching the tense scene unfold. The Duke recalls when he notices Rachel running as if she is chasing something desperately. A silver light pierces the night, and a sound reaches her ears as she moves to save the child. He compares her to a butterfly, warning that if he grabs her hair, it will collapse. Rachel misses the twins for a moment, realizing she's alone with the Duke. Her mind drifts back to the last incident, and she feels a chill at his expression. Then he surprises her, saying she already knew that Gail might drown in the pond, leaving her stunned. Can he read her? The Duke asks for her hand, and Rachel fears it. He threatens that if she refuses, he'll burn her hand. She does not hesitate, knowing he can make terrifying threats without blinking. Oh, Duke, please be nice to your future wife! Despite his cold demeanor, Rachel notices his hand is warmer than she imagined. She tries to stay positive as she studies his face carefully. Suddenly, she blurts out that she has found what she wanted, and the Duke pulls her closer, asking what it is. Suddenly, Duke North bursts through the door, seeing that Rachel and Duke Lexerville have touched. He reminds the Duke that murder is not allowed in the house. Rachel feels relief wash over her, knowing she's safe from the tyrant's wrath. Later, Duke North expresses gratitude to Rachel for saving Gail. Rachel also feels relieved, knowing she has earned some trust. She reflects that forming a relationship with a rising Duke is nearly impossible without goodwill and promises. Yet these connections can help Liz and the Agnes family. Rachel recalls her moments with Duke Lexerville and feels fear despite everything. He is a tyrant, and she worries that even her hand in his might act as a sedative for his power. She silently hopes to survive his presence without giving him more control. Duke Lexerville asks Dante to report everything about Duchess Rachel Agnes. Greywood is the largest faction in the South after the Agnes family, but they have rejected cooperation. This could hurt the Duchy of Agnes, but with Duke Lexerville's help, it might be manageable. The Duke decides to be patient and wait for Rachel to come to him. Meanwhile, Count Wickens cannot forgive Rachel for forcing his daughter to live with a one-armed man after Duke Lexerville burned his arm. He secretly plans to destroy Rachel. Villains are everywhere! In the Duchy of Agnes, Rachel's right hand reports everything from recent developments. They discuss giving northern weapons to the knights and the heavy responsibility it carries. Rachel reassures her right hand that everything will be fine and under control. Rachel plans to visit the north so Liz can meet the twins and make friends. Liz insists she wants only Rachel to go, but Rachel encourages her, saying the twins are fun. She believes that building an alliance between the north and Liz will strengthen their support. Rachel knows she must protect Liz at all costs, but also realizes she needs confidence and careful planning. Liz leaves for her study, and Rachel asks for the latest report on Greywood. They find that Count Wickens is plotting chaos in the duchy. The report also notes that Count Wickens and Marquis Cavendish are brothers-in-law. They conclude that Count Wickens is holding a long-standing grudge against Rachel. Rachel quietly considers how to counter their schemes. Duchess, just run to your future husband! Upon learning that Count Wickens and Marquis Cavendish are brothers-in-law, Rachel knows there's only one solution: ask Duke Lexerville. The Duke, as expected, has been waiting for this moment. He anticipated Rachel would come to him. The awaited moment! Rachel meets Duke Lexerville just as he predicted. The Grand Duke belongs to the Castor Empire, and his autonomous rule is recognized by the Imperial family. He's an independent ruler within the Empire. Rachel makes a deal, knowing the stakes. If Greywood engages in bribery or pressures Lexerville traders, the matter will not be a simple dispute between nobles, but a conflict between nations. The greedy Imperial family will not ignore Greywood if such an excuse arises. The Duke surprises her by asking to check something on her body in return for accepting the deal. Rachel is stunned and almost stumbles. He quickly pulls her close, saying her mind is wandering. All he wants is to hold her hand. Finally, they both accept the arrangement. Meanwhile, the servants panic, believing the world has changed. Maids clean the estate non-stop, overwhelmed that a woman is visiting the Lexerville duchy. Count Wickens is furious after learning Lexerville is cooperating with Agnes. He curses Rachel for the trouble his brother-in-law faced. Even the Duke of Lexerville rejected the daughter of the Harrisman family, yet he can cooperate with Agnes. Count Wickens orders Hoyne to send a message to the Harrisman family. Meanwhile, Rachel returns to the Duchy of Agnes. It's only a matter of time before the duchy regains its former glory. She receives congratulations from her employees and wonders quietly if Archduke Lexerville might care for her in more ways than politics. Don't be delusional, Duchess. The Duke just wants your hand. Or does he? Rachel finally agrees to slow down after Rupert, Marcus, and even Anne insist the family doctor check on her. She rests, but her thoughts refuse to settle. Marquis Waver lingers in her mind. From the very first meeting, he constantly dismissed her worth, so the sudden invitation from him only deepens her confusion. She turns the envelope over and over, unsure if his intentions are genuine or another attempt to mock her. It almost feels like he's testing her just for his own entertainment. As she debates the invitation, her thoughts drift to Liz. The longing hits her harder than expected. She imagines what Liz's life could have been if the story had followed its original path, and that haunting image makes her grip the sheets tighter. Rachel wants to finish her tasks quickly, just so she can spend more time with her little sister. Meanwhile, inside the Lexerville mansion, Theo studies a letter with unusual intensity. Dante stands nearby, waiting for a response about the Imperial family's request, but Theo barely acknowledges him. Only when Dante pushes does Theo give an answer, casually dismissing the matter and hinting at a different plan entirely. Dante freezes, startled by how unpredictable Theo has become. Dante secretly wonders. Ever since Theo spoke with her, a strange spark has appeared in the Duke's behavior. Not quite affection, not quite curiosity, but something new enough to unsettle his loyal knight. For generations, the Emperor has kept a close eye on the Lexerville's curse, especially after the former Emperor was overthrown. When the current Emperor exposed the family's dark history to the public, he used Theo's hunger for battle as proof of danger. And with the rightful heir still locked away, Theo has no chance to challenge him. Even so, Theo cannot dismiss the odd pull he feels towards Rachel. Something about her disrupts his well-calculated life, nudging him toward choices he normally never considers. Night falls and Rachel gently guides Liz to bed. The little one clings to her side, and Rachel stays with her until both drift off, wrapped in each other's warmth. The next morning, Rachel heads to meet Marquis Waver. His greeting immediately throws her off. His tone feels too casual, almost playful, making her wonder if this is just his normal manner or if he is intentionally trying to unsettle her. As she studies him, he slips into light teasing that borders on mockery, as if gauging her reactions. Rachel refuses to let him have the upper hand. She counters with a polite but pointed greeting, subtly bringing up their age difference. The Marquis freezes for a breath, unable to read her expression. He clearly expected her to be predictable, and she is not giving him that satisfaction. He waves off her remark and shifts the conversation, telling her she can rely on him if she ever faces trouble. He speaks with the confidence of someone who held authority for many years, offering guidance like a longtime duke. Rachel accepts the sentiment but firmly declines the offer. She reminds him she has been a duchess long enough to handle her own affairs. Beneath her calm tone, she still remembers the harm he caused her in the past. She refuses to let him pretend they have a clean history. Back in the Agnes manor, Liz anxiously waits for Rachel's return. Missing her sister, she decides to fetch some snacks to distract herself. On the way, she overhears maids whispering about Bella being mistreated by Mary once more. Concern sparks into anger. Liz rushes off to find Bella, determined to settle things. She witnesses Mary and several maids leaving Bella locked in a room, clearly unconcerned about Rachel eventually discovering the truth. Their carelessness only adds fuel to Liz's frustration. Once the maids disappear down the hall, Liz approaches the locked door. Bella pleads for her to fetch help, wanting someone with a key. But Liz has had enough. She's tired of seeing Bella hurt over and over. Her eyes harden with resolve. She decides this is the moment to take revenge and end the bullying once and for all. Back at the party, Marquis Waver keeps pressing Rachel with subtle jabs, nudging at her status and manners as if she were still the timid woman he once underestimated. Rachel responds with a light laugh, refusing to show irritation. Their exchange grows sharper, and soon the murmurs of nearby nobles rise. Curious eyes gather as Rachel throws back a remark about the Marquis's lofty title, turning his mockery right back at him. The Marquis's expression twists. Unable to tolerate being on the losing side, he drags Liz into their conversation. That single misstep snaps Rachel's patience. Her tone shifts, and she exposes everything she knows about his past behavior. The noble's attention fully settles on him now, and whispers spread, cornering him under their watchful gaze. For once, the Marquis finds himself defenseless. Before their verbal clash escalates further, Theo suddenly appears beside Rachel. His presence cuts through the tension like a blade, and the nobles recoil in shock. Even Marquis Waver stiffens, clearly unprepared for the Duke's arrival. Rachel stares at Theo, puzzled by the unfamiliar dynamic between him and the Marquis. Theo steps between them, disrupting the conversation as if it were his responsibility. Rachel listens carefully, still unsure what he plans or why he's inserting himself so boldly. Theo's timing is too perfect to be a coincidence. As Rachel tries to decipher his intentions, the Marquis abruptly excuses himself, unwilling to endure another second under Theo's gaze. The nobles scatter, widening the distance as fear creeps across the room. The tension drops, leaving Rachel and Theo standing alone. Rachel prepares to step away, but Theo's hand rests on her shoulder, stopping her. She looks up to excuse herself, only to see a sudden shift in his expression. His breath trembles. He coughs and dark blood stains his lips. Purple flames flicker around him, warping the air. Rachel's eyes widen, her questions forming but never spoken. Theo raises his palm toward her, reminding her of the deal they made. The flames pulse with urgency. Her heart pounds as countless thoughts collide in her mind. Finally, she reaches out and clasps his hand. Whatever happens next, she knows this choice will change everything. As Rachel clasps Theo's hand, she immediately notices the shift. His burning heat softens into a gentle warmth, almost soothing. The sudden change leaves her confused. She tries to focus on his pulse, on the strange flicker of purple flames fading around him, but her vision blurs the longer she thinks about it. The pressure becomes too much and her knees buckle. Theo tightens his grip, but Rachel finally collapses. Arthur rushes toward them, stunned by the sight of Theo supporting an unconscious Rachel. Theo steadies her and quietly reveals what he has begun to suspect. Rachel may be the key to ending the Lexerville curse. Arthur freezes, the weight of those words sinking in. If this is true, everything about Theo's future shifts in an instant. Meanwhile, in the Harrisman residence, Caroline sits in her room, surrounded by countless letters addressed to her. She beams as she reads each one, delighting in the admiration and praise. The attention feeds her pride, and she savors every moment. As she sorts through the pile, one letter catches her eye. Its tone is different, colder, almost mocking. Her smile falters. A maid walks by, picking up the letters that slipped onto the floor. Noticing Caroline's sudden change in mood, she hands her a newspaper and mentions that Theo's name appears on the front page. Caroline opens it, expecting flattery or gossip she can turn to her advantage, only to find the headline focusing on Rachel and Theo standing closely together at the party. Her expression darkens instantly, and she tears the paper apart in frustration. Jealousy flickers through her like a spark hitting dry leaves. She sits back, gripping the shredded pieces with trembling fingers. Instead of disappointment fading, her thoughts spiral toward obsession. Theo should have been paying attention to her, not Rachel. The idea of Rachel stepping into a place she wants only for herself fuels a deep resentment. Caroline's calm demeanor cracks as she leans forward, eyes narrowing with determination. She begins plotting ways to remove Rachel from Theo's life entirely, convinced that Rachel has stolen a future that should have belonged to her. In Caroline's mind, love becomes a battlefield, and Rachel is the only obstacle. Inside the carriage, Rachel slowly opens her eyes, her mind still foggy from collapsing. The gentle sway of the wheels steadies her, and she finally sits upright. Confusion settles in as she realizes they're already moving. She asks Theo where they're headed, trying to piece together what happened after she lost consciousness. Before she can press further, Theo responds in his usual calm tone, acknowledging the rumors about the Lexerville curse as if they were simple facts. His honesty stuns her into silence. She wants to know more. How long he has suffered, what triggered the purple flames. But instead of answering, Theo turns the questions toward her. The carriage grows quiet again. Rachel stares down at her hands, wondering if she acted recklessly. She used her powers on instinct, suppressing the curse without considering the consequences. Now, she wrestles with the deal she made. Should she uphold it or renegotiate for something greater? The uncertainty gnaws at her, especially with Theo watching so intently. Her thoughts drift back to the moment she touched him. The flames wrapped around him like grief, raw and unhidden. His magical strength was overwhelming, yet beneath it, she sensed something fragile. Time passes, and the carriage finally halts. Rachel looks outside and freezes. Theo has brought her home. Relief flickers for a moment, then instantly sharpens into worry. She remembers the knights who escorted her to the party. Arthur's expression tightens when she brings them up, causing dread to rise in her chest. She imagines the worst for a heartbeat before the carriage door opens, revealing the knights unconscious but unharmed. Theo and Arthur leave immediately after, offering no explanation. Inside the manor, Elise rushes to greet her. She informs Rachel that the bath is ready, dinner will be served soon, and Liz has been eagerly waiting. Hearing that softens Rachel's shoulders. At least something remains normal. Rachel moves to head upstairs, but Anne calls out, mentioning that Liz is nearby. Rachel turns with a smile, expecting her sister to run into her arms. Instead, a scream tears out of her throat. Liz is falling, pushed from the staircase. At the Agnes manor, before Rachel even returns home, Liz appears out of nowhere and greets Mary with an eerie smile. Mary flinches in surprise, unsure why Liz is approaching her so boldly. Liz glances towards the entrance the moment she sees Rachel arrive, and her smile grows sharper. Liz takes Mary by the hand and spins her, guiding her backward toward the staircase. Mary tries to understand what Liz is doing, confusion quickly mixing with panic. In the next second, Liz releases her grip. Mary plummets down the stairs in a flurry of frightened shrieks. As Liz falls, she locks eyes with Rachel. Rachel sprints toward her, horrified, while Liz struggles to contain the laughter bubbling inside. She enjoys the concern she sees in Rachel's expression. Rachel catches her sister in her arms. Liz is unconscious, her head bleeding, and Rachel trembles as panic and anger collide inside her. When Liz suddenly wakes, crying and pointing toward Mary, Rachel's expression darkens. Her fury ignites at the sight of the trembling maid. Liz hides a small smile, satisfied that her plan has worked perfectly. The knights immediately drag Mary away while she pleads for mercy. Liz feels triumphant knowing Rachel is now fully on her side. Hours pass. Bella rushes into Liz's room, calling out for her. The doctor hushes her, indicating that Liz is resting. Bella's worry deepens when she sees Liz wrapped in bandages, lying still on the bed. She sits beside Liz without another word. Eventually, the doctor and the maids leave, allowing the room to fall silent. When Bella gently calls her name again, Liz opens her eyes. Bella realizes she had been awake the entire time. Liz smirks, impressed by Bella's perceptiveness. Bella shivers slightly, relieved yet unsettled. Liz then tells her she hopes Bella will continue as her maid, her tone warm but her eyes still carrying a hint of mischief. Rachel's mind spirals as she sits beside Liz. Guilt pricks her like needles. She believes she failed to protect her little sister, and the weight of that thought crushes her chest. Seeing Rachel tremble while calling out for Liz, the doctor calmly advises that Mary must be punished for her actions. Rachel agrees, even though she still thinks of this world as a story. She knows she must make the right choices now that she's living inside it. Her memories blur together. She recalls her life as Yi-Wan, the pain of enduring hatred from strangers and even from her own family. There had been no one to defend her. That life still echoes inside her. She refuses to let Liz experience the same loneliness and fear. With renewed determination, Rachel wipes her tears and straightens her posture. She orders the doctor, Elise, and Rupert to deal with everyone who harmed or plotted against Liz. The room stiffens with a new atmosphere. Rachel is no longer the fragile Duchess they remember. She finally feels like someone who can protect rather than be protected. After the three depart, Rachel calls out to Lumen. She wants answers about the poison she once consumed. She also seeks information about the mysterious wizard involved. Lumen begins to explain the origins of wizards, their varied powers, and the complexity of their relationships with the world. He even touches upon Theo's capabilities. Rachel listens intently, absorbing each fact, though the flood of knowledge makes her head spin a little. When Lumen mentions the Imperial grass poison, something clicks inside her. She wonders if she has the rare ability to purify curses. The idea terrifies her. She thinks back to the deal she made with Theo and instantly regrets agreeing so quickly. Too late, girl. That contract is already sealed. Night settles over the manor. Rachel enters Liz's room with quiet steps. She helps Liz take her medicine and gently coaxes her to sleep. When Liz finally drifts off, Rachel brushes her hair and apologizes softly for not saving her in time. The guilt returns, but this time, it fuels her resolve rather than breaking her. Rachel pulls Liz into a careful embrace, tears sliding down her cheeks. She promises herself that she will love and protect Liz as fiercely as possible, no matter what challenges come. For the first time, Rachel feels like she truly belongs to someone, and that someone needs her too. Inside the Imperial Palace, chaos settles into eerie silence as Giorgio stands over his brother's lifeless body. He erupts into manic laughter, spreading his arms as if the entire palace should celebrate his rise. In his mind, he finally becomes emperor, and nothing can challenge him. He spots Edwig nearby. The young prince trembles and steps back, fear written clearly across his face. Giorgio frowns with irritation. Edwig resembles their father too closely, and the resemblance alone fuels Giorgio's anger. He orders the guards to lock Edwig away where no one can see him. Giorgio begins planning his next step. He toys with the idea of poisoning Edwig once and for all, ready to secure his throne completely. Just as he mutters to himself, Theo emerges from behind him without warning. The sudden appearance makes Giorgio freeze. Theo questions Giorgio's claim to the throne. The calm in his voice rattles Giorgio more than any blade could. Before Giorgio can respond, Theo offers him a deal. His boldness shocks Giorgio, who immediately becomes defensive. The Emperor tries to regain control, but Theo steps closer. Purple flames swirl around him, casting ominous shadows across the palace walls. The sight sends cold fear rushing through Giorgio. Theo continues to taunt him, demanding only one thing: a battlefield. He wants an excuse to wage war, and he wants the Emperor to provide it. Giorgio realizes he has no power to refuse. Trembling, he accepts the deal as long as Theo protects him. He trades his freedom for survival, too terrified to consider the consequences. Days later, the palace trembles from another outburst. A plate shatters across the dining room floor as Giorgio throws it in rage at Edwig. His frustration has only grown. No matter how hard he tries, he cannot control the Lexerville house, and the humiliation burns. Edwig sits quietly across from him, his face calm and unreadable. He predicts exactly what is coming and accepts it. The guards step forward, seize the prince, and drag him away once more to his hidden prison. A week passed and Liz finally recovered, bringing Rachel visible relief. She was grateful her sister had escaped the tragic fate from her past life, but guilt gnawed at her. Had she been too trusting, too careless in her choices? Rachel's thoughts swirled until Liz called her name, pulling her back to the present. She realized she had been reading a story but lost in her mind entirely. Since Liz's injury, Rachel had almost forgotten the twins. She had wanted Liz to meet them in good spirits and had planned to read her something light first. Before she could decide, Liz expressed a wish to meet the twins right away. Rachel's eyes lit up, delighted her sister felt ready. Elsewhere, Caroline sat stiffly at a noble gathering. The nobles buzzed about the newspaper coverage of Theo and Marquis Waver. When Rachel's name came up, Caroline twitched, anger flaring as gossip shifted to her and Theo. Lady Moore teased the idea of romance between Rachel and Theo. All eyes turned to Caroline. She burst into tears dramatically, and the nobles scolded Lady Moore for ignoring Caroline's feelings. Caroline leaned into her act, spinning lies about Theo's past interest in her and hinting he would soon fall for someone else. Lady Moore tried to apologize, but the crowd was absorbed in Caroline's theatrics. She rose, proud and deliberate, and stormed to her carriage. Once inside, she ordered her maid to send a letter to Viscount Moore, deciding to handle the matter herself. Duke Harrisman listened quietly as Caroline expressed her wish to be with Theo. His chest tightened with concern, imagining the dangers if she approached the Archduke too boldly. Even with his title, he had no control over Theo. Still, he reminded himself that a father's duty was to support his daughter, even on a risky path. The Harrisman family had gained great power by showing unwavering loyalty to the current emperor, yet that loyalty carried a price. To secure their rise, the Duke had to eliminate his political rival, the Agnes family. The memory lingered like a shadow he could not ignore. He asked Caroline again if she truly wanted to win Theo's heart. She smiled slyly, confident she could sway him. Someone clearly forgot the world does not revolve around her. At the Agnes Manor, Rachel and Liz prepared to meet the twins. Rachel beamed at how adorable Liz looked, practically sparkling with excitement. Liz stood ready for a new encounter, while Rachel's anticipation seemed even greater than her sister's. As they traveled, Rachel's mind wandered. She imagined how Liz might grow up, the friendships she would form, and even future romances. She mapped out scenarios that had yet to exist. The sisters continued their journey happily, unaware of the political webs tightening around them from every direction. And that's it for today, guys. What did you think? As always, don't forget to like the video and comment for the next part so we know you want more. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications for updates. See you in the next one!